welcome to this presentation on using model views and levels in Advanced Steel. First of all, I introduce myself. My name is Alec Giles and I'm a structures consultant at Greytec UK. I started off as a mechanical design engineer around 30 years ago, and I spent about 10 years designing machinery, and then I became the CAD manager at the company I was working at. There's a question there. What's that? Okay, good. Hello, Elias. I moved sideways to become the CAD manager, and I was training people on AutoCAD, Inventor and Solid Edge. And then I came to Greytec in February 2010. So I've been working at Greytec now for over 11 years, and I've been focusing 100% of that time on Advanced Steel only. Getting to know all the foibles of it inside out and helping to customize it. So overall, I've got over 20 years experience with training and support and consultancy. Why should you use Greytec as your partner, software partner? Well, we believe we offer the only dealer to offer the full range of services across the whole life cycle of your product. And we split them into 4 areas: create, simulate, fabricate and manage. So you can create your designs using Autodesk products which are enhanced with Greytec Power Packs. You can analyze and simulate their behavior in the real world using Greytec's advanced design and simulation tools. And then you can control your workshop and manage your entire workshop using Advanced Workshop. And you can manage all your data, all the different files and everything using OpenTree from Greytec. So we have tools and services to control every aspect of your product's life cycle. This particular webinar today, we're going to talk about using levels and things in your model. This is quite a short and sweet webinar. We're calling it a skill builder because we're not going to go into maximum depth and rummage around in all the nitty-gritty. We're going to give you a nice overview so you can learn something useful, but it's a short session that you can easily fit into your day. So what's this all about then? Well, anything but your very simplest structure is going to have different levels, different areas that you might want to work on at different times, and you don't really affect other areas of the structure. So when you're working on level 1, you're not really affecting level 2 and so on. When this happens, it can be hard to see what you're working on if it's in the middle of a large structure. If you've got a multi-story building and you're working on the 3rd floor out of 10, how can you see what you're doing? You've got all the other floors in the way or something like that. So it can be difficult to see what you're working on clearly. Well, this is where model views and levels inside Advanced Steel come into action. They help resolve this issue so you can clearly see what you're working on at any time. So in this particular webinar, it's only going to be a short overview, like we say. We're going to show you how to create model views. There's 4 items of model view. How to use them to isolate the bit you want to work on and see what you're doing. How to use those model views with cameras to save doubling up effort. What's the difference between a model view and a level? So how to create levels, and then how levels can benefit you beyond what model views offer. So let's get going. Model views themselves, the basic steps for model views. First of all, you have to create them. So you'd open Project Explorer. All these items, model views and levels we're talking about, live within Project Explorer. Open Project Explorer, then you choose create a new model view. So with the model view, there's 4 types, so I'll show you in a minute. So you select which type, you give it the appropriate inputs for that type, you name it, and you select a direction. As I say, there's 4 different types of model view available. So you can define them based on a single point, on 2 points and give a depth, or based on a grid line or a joint box. So let's have a look at that in action. So here we have a model that's probably very familiar to many of you if you've done any training in the UK, possibly in other areas too. And we go to Project Explorer. So it's the first icon on the home ribbon is Project Explorer. And when you click on that, it brings up a new panel. It could be floating, but I like to dock mine on the left. You have this little toolbar at the top here, and you have different areas in the side. So you've got model views there. So I'm going to click on this Create New Model View icon, and it gives me the 4 choices of different model view to create. I'm going to do the first one, 1 point in UCS, and I'm going to pick a location. So I'm going to say, let's do the outside platform. So I'm going to pick the middle of the platform, and that'll be a grid intersection in the middle of that water tank there. So I pick that point. Now it asks me for a name. So look on the command line and say, give me a name. So I'm going to give it something useful, just platform will do. And it asks you for your direction. It's a bit difficult to see the direction right now because it's hidden by the solid part on top of the arrows, but you'll see that clearer on the next type. So I'm just going to select an area on top to pick the top arrow. I know it's in there somewhere. And now that's created and that's available. So back to where I was. You can't really see much happen yet, but I'll show you in a minute how it works. I'm going to go for the next type. That's 2 points. So instead of using 1 point, I'm going to snap to the corners of the mezzanine, left and right, opposite corners. And then I'll give it a depth. So how much in front, that's usually going to be above. And how much below, I want to go all the way to the floor. So I'll put in 3.5 meters. Give that a name, so that'll be mezzanine. And again, it's choose a direction. So you can see now there's coloured arrows around the box. It's drawn a white box for the area I defined, and it's got arrows on each side of that box. Red one there, pink one at the bottom, blue one looking down. And I'll go for the plan view, so I'm going to choose the blue one looking down and accept that. So now I've got the model view for the mezzanine. Third type of model view, that's going to be at grid line. So just select that option, and this time all you need to do is literally pick a grid line or the ID number letter label. So I'm just going to pick that C there and accept, and obviously the name is going to be grid C, and that's automatically giving you a margin around that grid line. You can see the coloured arrows again, and I'm going to be looking from the side this time, so I'm going to pick, no, I'm going to go for the green one. And there you go, let's create that view. And the last type of model view you can create would be at a joint box. Here we go, there's the button, so I'm going to pick that. Here's a joint box showing for that haunch joint, so I pick that box, give it a name, haunch will go. And again, you can see the arrows on each side of that box. So it's drawn in the white box, and I'm going to pick the blue one there. And there you go, I've defined the 4 different types of model view. You can't really see what I'm doing with them yet, but we'll get to that in just a second. So we've created them. What can you do with them? Well, to use them, again, you have to go be in Project Explorer to see them. Expand that model views section if you need to, but in front of each name, you'll see there's a little light bulb icon. And you can click on that to turn that on or off. When the light bulb is on, only the part of the model within the box will show. If advanced steel parts like beams go outside the box, and they'll be clipped off at the boundary of the box. But special parts can't be clipped, they'll show the whole special part if any part of it is inside the box. If you double click on the view name, it won't just isolate what's within the box, but it'll also rotate your screen, or rotate your view so that it's square on to whatever direction you chose. That's why you chose the direction arrow. Which direction do you want to look at this? I want to look from the plan or from the side. When you double click, it will rotate to that direction. So when the light bulb's on, it's easy to see what they're working on, and you don't get any obstructions in the way. So again, let's have a look at that. We've got the model as we just left it. So here we go, we've got the various names here. If I just turn on and click on the light bulb in front of mezzanine, turn it on, there you go. I'm seeing just the mezzanine floor now. Now, actually, that's going cutting through the column. So you can see if I pick the box, I get grips in the corners of the box. And I can pick those up and move them a little bit. So if I move this one to the right, and then forwards a bit, I'll make the box a little bit bigger. And you can see it's dynamically updating. So now I'm covering the whole column. Perhaps I don't want to see the floor, so I can move the bottom up just to the right height. So I'm only seeing the mezzanine floor now. And I haven't got any of the other beams in the way. I can easily work on the mezzanine floor. Turn the light bulb off by clicking on it, and the whole model comes back again when no light bulbs are on. Have a look at the platform with that box. When I define it just on 1 point, it's a 1 meter box to start with, 1 meter cube. So I'm just going to stretch that out to cover what I did want to cover. So go in each direction to cover the size of the platform, then I'll drag the bottom down to get to the floor. There you go, that's covering what I need now. You can see how the special part's not clipped, but all the beams are clipped at the edge of the box. Again, when the light bulb's off, it shows just what you ask for. On the grid one, the grid box automatically covers 500mm all around the end of the grid, so it's 1 meter wide, and it's got an infinite Z depth, slightly different to the others. The Z direction is infinite, so there's no limit on that, but in the X and Y direction, it's giving you 500mm margin around the end of the grid line. And there's the model view one for the haunch joint there. You can see now I've got two light bulbs turned on, so it's showing me what's inside both the boxes, but nothing else. And if I turn them off one by one, it only shows one at a time. So you can even have a combination of them showing. So that makes it very easy to see just the bit you're interested in working on with nothing else in the way, no obstructions. You can see and work easily. So great, that's really helpful to see what you're doing and to make it easier to work when you've got lots of different areas in the model. You can also reduce the graphics load on your system. So if you're finding you've got a large model and it's starting to get a bit sluggish to rotate, well, apart from make sure your graphics settings are accurate and up to date, because that's come on a long way in the last few years, so it can overtake massive models now quite easily. But if you are finding it's a bit cumbersome, then you're making a model view just to isolate the bit you're really interested in at the moment will mean that perhaps 80–90% of the model doesn't have to show, and therefore it's got 80 or 90% less graphics to handle, and all your rotation and your viewing will be much faster and easier. So it's great for improving performance on really big models as well. But model views can go even further. You can see as from the heading I'm showing here, model views as cameras. So hopefully you're all familiar with using cameras to create your general arrangement drawings. You create a camera, you tell it how big the camera is, and it shows how much the model is included in that view, and then you go ahead and create the drawings from that. Well, if you've created a model view, that can double up as a camera without having to create an extra camera. So after you've created the model view, you right click on the name in Project Explorer, and then you select Properties from the menu, and you go to the page called Camera Properties. And at the top of that page, you'll have a little tick box saying Create Automatic Drawing, which isn't ticked. But if you tick that box, and then it doubles up as a camera as well. You'll have all the familiar camera properties on that page for description, drawing style, and so on. You won't have any camera limits because that's already been set by the model view. So the page about detail box won't be there. But any camera drawing process you use from now on will find that model view, which says Create Automatic Drawing, will find that and treat that like a camera, just like any other camera in your model. So there's no need to have a model view of the mezzanine floor and a camera to draw the mezzanine floor. The one item can do both tasks. So it can save a lot of clutter in your model and makes it easier to navigate and keeps things sleek. So let's see that in action. So here we go again, still the same model. Just have a look. So go to Selection Filters and ask for cameras. And there you go, you can see it says it found no objects. So I've got no cameras in this model at all. But if I go to one of these model views, let's maybe see a mezzanine. I can right click on that and say Properties. And here we go, we've got the page called Camera Properties there, and I tick the box Create Automatic Drawing. You can see I've got the normal options here, so I'm going to choose what type is it. It's an overview. I'll give it a description, mezzanine plan, and I'll choose a drawing style. There we go. So I can close that. And just like a camera, that will do its job there. I'll do one more for this one around the haunch. So again, I can select the white box I like instead of the name in the Project Explorer, but I'll go to the Camera Properties page, give it a title and a type, and all the same properties as you normally set in any other camera. I'll do a detailed view of that one. So I've set two of them as cameras. So now I just go, if I just double check again, I'll go to the cameras filter. It still says there are no cameras in the model, but I have got model views that are acting as cameras. So when I go to the drawing processes and go to cameras, I'll just say draw all the cameras for now. So that finds the two model views that are cameras, but it says here two model views were not detailed as cameras. I've got four views, two of them aren't defined as cameras, so it's telling me that. Well, I know that, that's fine. But it has found the two that were defined as cameras, and it's created a drawing from them. So here we go, in Document Manager, here's my drawing. So there we go, we've got the mezzanine plan there, hot rolled floor plan, and you've got the detail of the haunch. Looking from the direction, so again, we chose an arrow when we defined the view to tell you what direction we're looking in, and we've set the limit of the size of it as model view, and that is the same as choosing the direction and arrows and the size of your camera. So again, that direction comes back into play there. It's not always obvious what the direction has to do with it, but it comes back into play at that point. So that would make it, especially for overall drawings and overall views, that can make it really easy, a really tidy way of getting a lot of your views. You can't do isometrics that way, or 3D views, because a model view is always square to the world coordinates. So anything from another angle would have to be a camera. But for anything square to world coordinates, then a model view could be a good option instead of a camera. So that's model views, the basic, quick, rapid overview of model views. But there's a second type of model view, a special type of model view called a level. What's that all about? Well, levels are like special model views, and they have extra abilities beyond what model views can do. So again, inside Project Explorer, you'd click Create New Level. You enter the desired height. So these are all levels. This is talking about vertical slices through the model. So you enter the height you want. And the height can be done in two ways. You can use absolute altitude, so you can say it's at 15 meters or 27 meters or whatever. Or you can just say it's 3 meters above the previous level or 2 meters above the previous level. Either way, whatever's convenient. Then you click OK. Pretty much that's it. You will want to give it a name as well. You have to create your levels in sequence. You can't create level 1, level 5, and then go back and create level 2. It won't make any sense. Level 2 will be based on level 5. You have to create them in the sequence to go out the building. And if you fumble, then you're going to have to cancel them, delete them, and do them again. So you have to create them in the right sequence, because every level is based on the previous one created. You can't change that. Like model views, you can turn them on and off with the light bulb, and it will only show what's in that level. And when I say what's on that level, if you choose level 3, it'll only show what's between level 2 and level 3. There's one little slice through the model. So let's have a quick look at that then. So here we go, same model. We've got this create level icons, next icon along on that little ribbon. And I've been practicing, so it's got some previous names in there. So let's change that back to level 0. And it's going to be at the ground level, so the height is 0. So there we go. I've now got ground level showing and everything below. I'm going to create another level, and I'll call this level 1. I could call it first floor or penthouse suite or whatever. Tell it the height, so it's 3 meters high. And now I've got everything showing between 0 and 3 meters. I'll do another one for level 2. Now I can say that's 6 meters overall, or I can say it's 3 meters above level 1. There's the eaves level of the building. If I turn these off, then you can see I've still got the whole building there. And if I turn on level 1 only, I get from what's between 0 and 3 meters, and only what's between 0 and 3 meters. I turn on level 2, I just get what's between 3 meters and 6 meters. So again, it's a really great way of modeling slices through your building. Really useful, quick way of creating it. It's infinite in the X and Y direction. It's just limiting the Z direction. But I said it could do more than a model view. Apart from being infinite in the X and Y direction, or slightly different definition, it does actually do more. So what extra features can it do? Well, let's have a look. Whenever you create a level, and every new level you create is set as active immediately. What does that mean? Well, when a level is active, all the beams you draw have the system line glued to that level. So either end of that system line, no matter what points you snap to, the Z coordinate of those points will always be changed to match that level that's active. Can't change that, can't do anything about that. If you use the column command, you may have noticed there's a particular command for column as opposed to just drawing a beam command and drawing it vertical. Then if you use the column command, it automatically locks the top of the column to the level that's active and the bottom to the previous level. And the same when you draw concrete walls. If you use the wall command on the concrete, that's locked to the current level and the previous level. So the height of the column and the height of the wall are automatically controlled for you. And then if you change the level or edit the properties of the level so the height is adjusted, those things that are glued to that level move with it. So any horizontal beams will go up or down with it. The columns and the walls will change height accordingly. So this is brilliant for doing mezzanine floors and things like that, simple floor plans. It's a really nice way of working. and it makes any edits or tuning like that quite easy. Really important, don't forget to deactivate a new level, otherwise everything you draw will be locked to that new level. So when you create a new level, as I said, it will be active. So everything you draw, no matter what snap points you lock onto, will be drawn on that level. But that's fine when you want that, but obviously it's not going to be that for the rest of your life. So you can deactivate the level, just turn off that function, then everything you draw will go wherever you like, not lock into the level. And I'll show you that as well. So again, let's have a look at that in action. So I've just created some levels, but I'm going to come back before I've got the levels, and I'm just going to create some different ones. I'll go for level 0 at 0, and then I'll go for another one, and I'll call it level 1. And okay, level 1. I think I'll go for 2 meters this time. Okay, so there you go. I can see from 0 to 2 meters. Now, I want to see everything. I can turn off the light bulb so I can see the entire model. But notice how level 1 is still written in bold. This is critical. If it's written in bold, it means that level is active. So now I'm going to draw a beam, and notice I'm going to stop to the bottom of the column A1 on the ground level, 0 height. And I'm going to snap to the ground, 0 height on A3. But where does the beam come up? It comes up 2 meters up. I'll go from the bottom of A3 to the top of B3, and the beam still comes up horizontal at 2 meters. No matter whether I'm snapping to the top or the bottom of the columns, it makes no difference. The beams are always horizontal at 2 meters. So I'll do another one. I'm going to draw a cross beam, and I want it in the middle, so I'm going to use the grid line on the floor. This makes it easy because I can use the reference of the grid on the floor, but it still comes in at 2 meters. So I haven't had to create new construction lines or anything like that. I can still use other points I've got available. Here's the column command. So instead of just drawing random beams, I'm going to ask for the column command. I'm going to snap to the bottom point there, and it still draws from 0 to 2 meters. I'm going to snap to the top point here. Doesn't matter whether I snap to bottom or top, it's still gone from 0 to 3 meters, 2 meters. And then we got the walls. So if I go under the concrete, drop down there and choose wall, I'll just draw a simple straight wall. I'm going to snap along the floor. There you go, that'll do. And you'll see the wall comes out 2 meters tall. So they're automatically drawn at your selected or requested heights without me having to worry about it. I can snap anywhere I like and it will work to those heights. But if I go to the properties at that level now and say, well, I didn't mean it was 2 meters, it was a fumble, I meant 4 meters. Oh, look, all those beams that I drew are all adjusted. So the horizontal ones have moved up to 4 meters. The columns and the wall are now 4 meters tall without any action at all. But now I've finished with that, so I can now right click on that level and say deactivate. And now when I draw a new beam, it's not going to be locked to that level. So I'll draw a diagonal beam. There you go. It does go diagonal this time. So when you deactivate the level, you're no longer locking onto that level. And if I edit that level again now, I'll make it 3 meters. The bits that were locked to it adjust, but the new beam I drew after deactivating it is not locked to it, so it doesn't adjust or do anything about it. So really important, don't forget to deactivate new levels when you create them, but when you want them active, or you want new things to go locking onto it, you can right click and say activate again to go back and draw more things glued to that level. Brilliant way of working. You can even just work in plan view because you know everything's going to be at the right height. So if you've got a grid you've drawn, perhaps you've drawn it on the ground, probably did, but you've got several levels of mezzanine, you can go straight to plan view and just go click, 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 snap into the grid points and click, click, click with column command, and you know it's going from the right height. It's only one click to do a column and the height is controlled for you. You know it's going the right height. And then you do level 2, so you set up level 2, and you go again, click, click, click on the same snap points from the ground, and you know it's going from level 1 to level 2, and all the horizontal beams are on level 2. Really fast, really easy. So that was a very quick whistle-stop tour. So if you want more information or more in-depth explanations of these things, there is actually already a full-length webinar, full proper tutorial. So it's going slowly, explaining everything in proper depth for the Project Explorer. So it shows you everything about the Project Explorer. Rob's already done that, so it is available. As always, all our previous webinars are found on our content center, so you can go there. The path is there, so go to Greytech Go UK, then CAD courses, training tutorials and webinars, then Advanced Steel. Look on there, all of our previous webinars are available, including this one on Project Explorer. The one you're looking for is going to be called Increasing Your Advanced Steel Productivity with the Project Explorer. That's much longer. In total, there's well over 50 webinars now on that content center, so that's over 50 hours worth of training, tips and tricks, and so on for Advanced Steel. So lots of free information and free training for you there. Worth looking through what's available and watching some of the ones you may have missed before, or even just reviewing ones you've seen before and forgotten about. So that's my whistle stop tour as a quick skill builder. It's worth looking into the Project Explorer. Model views and levels can have a lot of benefits for you. Are there any questions from anybody? I'll wait for a minute or two to see if anybody asks a question. Okay, it doesn't seem like there's any questions, so I hope you found that useful and poked your interest. Have a look at the full webinar to explain it in more depth if you need it, or have a play. Thanks for your attention today. I've got another webinar later, and check out the Content Center for all the future ones. Go to Greytech's events page for upcoming webinars and see some more. Oh, there is another comment there. Is there any way to get rid of automatic level symbols associated in defined levels in 2D drawings? The level symbols would show up. So when you create a level using Project Explorer, it does have a level symbol associated with it. If that's showing in a drawing view, I presume it's a GA view, then that's part of the drawing style. So you'd have to edit the drawing style and remove the line saying display level symbols, or change that line. And that's editing drawing styles is a much bigger subject and something for another day. But it'll be part of the drawing style as to whether any level symbols within the scope of the camera or scope of the view are shown. Okay, thanks for your attention today. I hope it was useful. Goodbye.